Assalamualaikum, my name is Farah dari Rabit Nikah Baru Zaman. Malaysia's new economic policy, NEP, launched by Tun Abdul Razak Hussein in 1971 following the 13 May 1969 racial riots, achieved historic socio-economic restructuring, slashing poverty from 52.4% to 17.1%, building a Bumi Putra middle class, and driving 6.3% annual GDP growth through institutions like Felda, Mara, and Petronas. However, after 5 decades, race-based quotas have fostered elite capture, triggered 1.2 million skilled immigration, and excluded groups like Orang Asli, while digital divides climate pressures demand evolution. This presentation analysed NEP's achievement and limitation that proposed 3 Madani-aligned reforms targeting 7% GDP growth and 40% shared prosperity by 2030.
Hello, my name is Nur Fatiha, and today I will be sharing about the educational quota system in Malaysia, particularly in relation to university admission. So, this system was introduced during the second Malaysian plan in the 1970s as part of the government's effort to restructure Malaysian society. Education was seen as a key tool to reduce economic inequality, especially for the Bumi Putra community. At that time, the government believed that improving the access to education would help uplift the economic position of Bumi Putras. As a result, public university and boarding schools allocated a higher percentage of seats to Bumi Putra students. For example, more places in local university were reserved to ensure Bumi Putra students had greater opportunities to pursue higher education. The policy also went beyond admissions. Financial support such as scholarship and educational assistance was provided, and institutions like MRSM were established to prepare Bumi Putra students from a young age. For instance, students from rural areas were given structured academic support to help them succeed at higher level of education. In terms of outcomes, the system achieved many of its objectives. It produced a large number of Bumi Putra graduates in professional fields such as engineering, medicine, and business. As an example, more Bumi Putra professionals entered skill jobs and contribute to national development. However, the system also had drawbacks because admissions were influenced by quotas rather than purely academic merit. Some high-performance non-Bumi Putra students were unable to enter public university. For example, students with strong results sometimes had to study overseas or enroll in private institutions. This situation contributed to brain drain and the rapid growth of the private education sector, and it also sparked ongoing debates about fairness in the education system. In conclusion, the educational quota system played an important role in restructuring Malaysia's society through education. While it succeeded in improving access and uplifting the Bumi Putra community, it also created challenges that continue to shape discussion on equality and merit today.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day to you as well. My name is Muhammad Hafiz bin Burhanuddin. Today, we are examining the structural economic shifts in Malaysia under the new economic policy NEP. Specifically, we will discuss the 30% corporate equity ownership target and the institution created to manage this massive undertaking, which is Permodalan Nasional Berhad (PNB). These initiatives represent a unique blend of market intervention and social engineering designed to redistribute national wealth. Okay, let's begin with the policy itself. In 1970, Malaysia faced a stark economic imbalance. Bumi Putra ownership of share capital was a mere 2.4%, while foreigners dominated the economy with 63%. To fix this, the government set an ambitious target to restructure ownership by 1990 to a ratio of 30% Bumi Putra, 40% other Malaysians, and 30% foreign interests. It is important to note that this wasn't achieved through confiscation. Instead, the government used a growing the pie approach. As the economy expanded, they used the Industrial Coordination Act (ICA) of 1975 to ensure that a portion of new investments and corporate expansions was allocated to Bumi Putra interests. This policy successfully created the Bumi Putra Commercial and Industrial Community (BCIC). However, the 30% goal remained elusive. By 1990, the equity share reached 20.3%, falling short of the original target. There are two main criticisms here. First, wealth often became concentrated within a narrow corporate elite, which actually increased wealth disparities within the Bumi Putra community itself. Second, international investors sometimes view these requirements as a hidden tax, which may have discouraged some private investment during global economic downturns. To ensure that this equity wasn't just held by a few individuals, the government established Permodalan Nasional Berhad (PNB) in 1978. PNB acted as a national investment foundation. It performed massive buyouts of foreign-owned plantation and mining firms to bring them home and hold them in trust for the community. One of PNB's greatest innovations was the introduction of unit trust schemes like ASN and ASV. This allowed everyday citizens to buy units in a diversified portfolio at a fixed price, effectively democratizing corporate ownership. Unlike direct share allocations, which individuals might sell for quick cash, the PNB model encouraged long-term savings and financial literacy. It ensured that the benefit reached rural and low-income households, not just the wealthy. The flip side of this success is the rise of state-led capitalism. Because PNB and other government-linked investment companies, GLICs, became so dominant, critics worry about market distortions and the risk of political influence over how these major companies are governed. In conclusion, while the 30% target was not fully met by 1990, the mechanism put in place, especially the PNB unit trust model, fundamentally changed the Malaysian economy. It transformed a colonial-era ownership structure into one with significant local and institutional participation, though it continues to face challenges regarding equity, distribution, and market competition.
So hi, my name is Farhan, Afizul Farhan bin Hamdan. So I will be explaining about the activities and initiative of NEP, New Economical Policy. The first activities is FELDA. FELDA is stand for Federal Land Department Authorities that is created to eradicate poverty across all ethnic groups, focusing on rural area where many Bumi Putra live as low-income farmers. The government converted the forest reserve into organized agro village, resettling landless families and giving each about 10 acres of land. This transformed traditional peasant into market gardeners by switching them to cash crop like oil palm and rubber. It provided a steady income and a seat at the global economic table. To ensure a better life, FELDA also built essential infrastructure, including road, school, healthcare facilities, pipe water, and electricity, which improved the living standard and provided new economic opportunities, and of course, successful bridging the gap between the town and the countryside. The second activities is MARA and UKM, University Kebangsaan Malaysia. To restructure society and reduce economic disparities among ethnic groups, the government used MARA and establishment of University Kebangsaan Malaysia (UKM) to drive education and entrepreneurship. MARA acts as a business incubator by providing training, skill development, credit facilities, and physical spaces like commercial lot and encourage Bumi Putra entrepreneurship. In education, reform like the founding of UKM in 1970s offered tertiary education in Bahasa Malaysia, while scholarship quarters and residential school (MRSM) act as a social elevator for children from poor background to enter professional field. These activities supported by trust company like PNB targeted a 30% Bumi Putra equity ownership by 1990 to ensure long-term economic empowerment and a fair stake in the nation's prosperity. Activities is FTZ. What is FTZ? FTZ stands for Free Trade Zone. To move Malaysia beyond a reliance on agriculture, the government focused on economic diversification by establishing Free Trade Zone under 1971 Act. These zones located in hubs like Bayan Lepas and Sunaway were designed to attract foreign direct investment and multinational cooperation by offering duty-free import and tax holidays. The shift toward an export-oriented industrial economy encouraged competition in electronic and textile, creating direct employment for millions and moving workers from seasonal farm work toward technology-based roles. Ultimately, the Free Trade Zone promoted industrialization and strengthened the collaboration between the government and private sector, ensuring long-term economic growth and a modern, diverse workforce. Let's move on to the initiative. The first initiative is national unity. What I mean by here is, after the racial tension of May 13, 1969, Tun Abdul Razak realized that economic growth alone could not unite Malaysia. He understood that a diverse society needed a shared system of value to prevent future conflict. To achieve this, the government focused on two men, which is Rukun Negara and education system. Rukun Negara was introduced in 1970 as a moral compass to guide all Malaysians. It established a foundation of faith and loyalty through belief in God, loyalty to the king and country, supremacy of constitution, and the rule of law. The rule of law ensuring all citizens were protected equally. Finally, it promoted courtesy and morality to encourage compassion and mutual respect between different ethnic groups. Education is a powerful tool for unity. Tun Abdul Razak transformed the classroom into a place for integration, where students from different backgrounds could learn together and break the silence of the colonial past. By promoting Bahasa Malaysia as a common national language, the government gave all Malaysians a way to communicate, exchange ideas, and build a shared national culture. The second Malaysia Plan. The second Malaysia Plan, 1971 until 1975, was the first major roadmap created to implement the NEP, New Economic Policy. It focused on a two-pronged strategy. The first one is poverty eradication to raise income level for poor Malaysians, and the second one is restructuring society to ensure the job were shared fairly among all races. And to make this happen, the government pushed for rural modernization through agency like FELDA and gave land to poor to grow cash crop like palm oil. The plan sparked industrialization and diversification by building electronic and textile factories, moving the economy away from total reliance on farming to create a new urban job. To support this massive shift, the government made a huge investment in education and human capital by building schools and providing vocational training. This was a crucial point because it prepared the workforce for modern industry, giving children from poor rural background the professional skill and scholarship needed to become the engineer, manager, doctor of a modern and a successful Malaysia.
The new economic policy, or known as NEP, was introduced to restructure Malaysia's economy and society after independence. It was created not because Malaysia lacked resources, but because there were large economic gaps between different groups. The main goals of the NEP were to reduce poverty and to promote national unity. One major contribution of the NEP was poverty reduction among all Malaysians. For example, government assistance program helped low-income families increase their household income, especially those who previously depended only on subsistence farming. The NEP also placed strong emphasis on improving the economic position of the Bumiputra community. For instance, more Bumiputra were given access to higher education, scholarship and job opportunities which allowed them to secure better employment in the public and private sector. Rural development was another key focus of the policy. As an example, the government built roads, schools and healthcare facilities in rural areas, making it easier for villagers to access the education, medical care and markets for their product. The policy also created modern job opportunity through economic expansion. For example, the growth of small and medium enterprise and modern agriculture provided stable employment for people who had previously worked in low-income or informal jobs. As a result of economic growth, many Malaysians experienced improved living standards. For instance, families were able to move from poverty into the middle class, own homes and provide better education for them. The NEP played an important role in strengthening social cohesion and national unity. For example, by reducing income gaps between ethnic groups, the policy helped lower resentment and prevent further ethnic conflict after the 1969 incidents. The NEP was also encouraged inclusive development. As an example, citizens from different backgrounds were able to participate in national development programs, making them feel that they had a shared stake in the country's future. In the conclusion, the new economic policy made a lasting impact on Malaysia. Through poverty reduction, economic restructuring and inclusive growth, supported by practical measures and real-life improvements, the NEP helped build a more stable, united and prosperous nation.
Hi, I will explain about SWOT analysis. What is SWOT? SWOT is S is strength, W is weakness, O is opportunities, and T is threats. I will start with a strength of NEP. Strength of NEP is a strong focus on poverty eradications across ethnic groups. Second, reduce economic imbalance between Bumiputra and non-Bumiputra. Thirdly is high level of government commitments and policy supports. Fourth is address economic causes of ethnic tensions. Lastly is promoted national unity and social stability. Okay, next I will explain about the weakness. The weakness of NEP is heavy dependence on government aids and tutors. Second is reduced competitiveness and self-reliance. Third is bureaucratic inefficiencies and corruption risks. Fourth is perceived discriminations against non-Bumiputra groups. And lastly, uneven benefits, favoring urban over non-Bumiputra. Fast forward, we want to explain about the opportunities of NEP. The opportunity is we can growth of Bumiputra entrepreneurship and middle class. Second, increase domestic investment and consumptions. Third is improve human capital through education and training. Fourth is more stable environment for foreign investments. And lastly, potential model for inclusive development in developing countries. Okay, last one is threats. Threats of NEP is risk of rising ethnic resentment and social divisions. Second is exposure to global economic frustrations. Third is synchronism and concentration of weight. Fourth is brain drain of skilled non-Bumiputra workers. And lastly is long-term efficiency and productivity concerns. The challenges of new economic policies is presenting economic equity between ethnic groups. It's difficultly achieve the 30% Bumiputra equity ownership targets. It makes a perception of unfairness due to the race-based assistance. Secondly, is lack of education and professional skills among some Bumiputra. It's make a weak business management, dissipates financial supports. Thirdly, is inefficiency, misuse, and unequal distribution of government aids. The benefits concentrated among a small elite group only. Lastly, the social tensions and resentment among non-Bumiputra communities.
Achievement of the economic policy NEP, significant reduction in national poverty levels, improved living standard in rural area, increased Bumiputra participation in education, employment and business, expansion of scholarship, training program and public sector jobs, improved access to education for low-income groups, reduction of extreme economic disparities between ethnic groups, enhanced social stability after 1969 racial riot. Impact of the new economic policy NEP. For the positive impact, improved income level and living standard among Bumiputra, creation of a larger Bumiputra middle class, greater access to education and professional careers, development of skilled human capital, increased social stability and national development. For the negative impact, perceived inequality due to race-based policies, dependency on government support among some groups, reduced competition and efficiency in certain sectors, ongoing debates over fairness and meritocracy.
Here's the recommendation to make the NEP stay relevant in today's world. First, we focus on talent development and inclusive training. We gradually cap ethnic quotas at just 20% in public universities and government jobs by 2028. Right now, quotas block talented students regardless of their STPM or SPM results. This phased approach gives everyone a fair shot based on actual ability. We replace subjective decision with merit-based selection using actual grades, standardized tests, and AI-supported UPU system. Imagine UPU 3.0 automatically ranking applicants purely on STPM GPA, MUET scores, and aptitude tests. No more connected placement. Next, TVET 2.0 explodes to train 2.5 million youths, double today's numbers in high-demand skills like AI programming, industrial robotics, and drone agriculture. We built brand new polytechnics nationwide, offering completely free programs so no youth gets left behind. For our doctors, engineers, and IT professionals working abroad, we launched a brain gain scheme, complete 5-year income tax exemption, plus 20,000 cash relocation allowance. Picture 10,000 skilled Malaysians returning to build our digital economy. That's 2 billion ringgit immediate talent injection. We upgrade Mara's old model into MyTVET digital platform. Think Netflix for skills training. Mechanics learn EV repair. Factory workers master robotics online anytime through simple mobile app. Target, reskill 70% of our entire workforce by 2025. The result? Average annual income jumped from 55,000 ringgit to 80,000 ringgit per worker. That's 25% extra in every family's pocket. When talent flows freely and skill match global demand, Malaysia becomes Asia's innovation Second hub. recommendation is eliminate cronyism and strengthen SME support. First, we enforce open online bidding for all government tenders through MyGOV portal. 200 billion ringgit in contracts become fully transparent, no more backroom deals. Second, AI automatically detect irregularities in procurement. Suspicious bid patterns, price gouging, connected companies flag instantly with 99% accuracy before contracts get approved. Third, quarterly SPM audits across all ministries recover financial leakages. Current estimates show 5 billion ringgit lost yearly. These audits claw back every ringgit for productive investment. Next, we establish 40 billion ringgit SME development fund open to all micro businesses with sales below 500 ringgit. Your neighborhood mechanic, coffee stall, TikTok seller, everyone qualifies based on business potential, not connections. 30% comes from wakaf financing targeted at B40 entrepreneurs who commit to hiring local workers. A single mama shop owner hiring 2 neighbors creates 3 family incomes instantly. Finally, SSM One Stop Center 2.0 slashes business licensing from 1,200 permits to just 100 essential ones. Register your business in 15 minutes through mobile app. No more running between 18 government agencies. Third recommendation is Sustainability Balance Scorecard SBSC approach. First, we allocate 20% of NEP legacy funds, approximately 100 billion ringgit, for green financing accessible to entrepreneurs of all ethnicities. Second, offer 5% low-interest green loans to every entrepreneur, regardless of race. A Malay palm oil smallholder converting to precision agriculture, or Chinese factory owner installing solar panels. Both qualify equally. This loan support transition from high-emission sectors like traditional palm oil and heavy manufacturing to sustainable industries. Green Technology Financing Scheme 2.0 launches in 2026 with proven technologies, electric tractors, biomass energy, solar drying system. Most crucially, we promote unity business clusters, exactly 50% Bumiputra and 50% non-Bumiputra partnerships. Imagine Malay software developers building AI for Chinese hardware manufacturers' factory robots. Cross-ethnic collaboration becomes our competitive advantage. Real example, Malay agri-tech startups with Chinese drone manufacturers. Bumiputra Renewable Energy firms partnering with Indian engineering consultant. These clusters don't just green our economy, they unite our nation through profitable partnership. In conclusion, NEP 1971 was Malaysia's turning point, slashing poverty, building the Bumiputra middle class through Felda and Mara, and ensuring stability after 1969. Yet, race-based quotas bred elite capture, brain drain, and exclusion of Orang Asli and East Malaysians. The future demands evolution. Need-based support, merit-based selection, transparent procurement, and inclusive green growth. My 3 reforms: talent-first education, crony-free markets, unity business clusters. Deliver 7% GDP growth, 3% unemployment, and 40% shared prosperity by 2030. NEP's growth, discipline plus Madani's Rakyat focus builds our second golden era.